welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to discuss the one very important part of the paper 2 of IGCSE and GCE, the Cambridge O level computer science 0478 and 2210. And this paper has one very important question, and that is the scenario based question. We are going to discuss this this question from the paper from the specimen paper of 2023. And the question is little challenging for the students, and actually this is the question that is being replaced, and this is the question that is being added into the new syllabus. And you might know that in the previous pattern, the students, they were supposed to prepare the pre-release material, and that pre-release material was something that student usually prepare before the Cambridge exam, and then in their final exam they have to face the different questions related to them. So now in the new syllabus, this scenario based question is the another form of that pre-release material. And this scenario based question is the application of all the programming and the problem solving skill that the student acquire in their paper 2. In this question, you will be given a scenario, and this scenario is based on the core fundamental the concept of the problem solving. Means you really need to implement all the understanding and the skill that you acquired. Like if you are given a problem, how you can identify the core aspect of the problem, and the you will be following the software development life cycle, in which the first thing is to analyze the problem, is to identify the issue, the problems, and then decompose it, and then to move toward the designing part and the coding part as well. So this question is challenging because it requires you to use all of your skills. And if we categorically identify the main part of this question, is that first part in this question is related with understanding of the scenario that is given to you. So what kind of situation you will have, and the scenario, you really need to read this part very well. I have seen the students not able to attempt the question just because of the issue that they never comprehend the question very well. So this is important in the start. So you will read these few lines, and after reading this first part, then you will move toward the action part. That after understanding the scenario, then you will be focusing on these bullet points, and then you are going to write the pseudocode for it. Okay. Although in this question, you have the flexibility to write the pseudocode or a program code. So definitely when you're studying the programming paper, you are not just learning it with the pseudocode. And the good way of learning the problem solving is to use the programming tool and the programming codes. So the same is so in this question particularly, talking about the way of implementing, if we read this question, the question says that the one-dimensional array student name contains the name of the student in the class. The two-dimensional array student marks contain the mark of each subject for each student. The position of each student's data in the two arrays is the same. The student position 10 in student name and student mark is the same. The variable class size contains the number of the students in the class. The variable subject number contains the number of the subjects studied. All students study the same number of the subjects. Now this line is important that the arrays and the variables have already been set up and the data stored. Students are awarded a grade based on their average mark. Now this is the scale that the greater than or equal to 70 will be awarded distinction, greater than or equal to 55 merit, and for this pass, and for this fail. So this comprehension need to be exactly defined. So I have used an Excel sheet here to the spreadsheet here to define that how this is defined, how this is what we can say modeled. So now the student name, this can be the array that is being mentioned here, the student name array. It will have the name of the students, and the size of this array is starting from 1 till the class size, whatever the size that will be given to us. And the second array, which is the 2D array, student mark, and this student mark is again going to have, in this student mark we will have the number of the rows are same to the number of the rows in the student name, and the number of the test, again a variable subject number is going to define the total number of the test for each student. So it means this 2D array, so we can say that in this 2D array we will have class size and we will have the subject number. So these two things are going to define the total number of rows and the total number of columns. Now this is how, and as it is mentioned here that the one thing that the student yes, for example, the student in position 10 and subject number and is same. It means this 5, the index 5 referring to Tayyab, and the same row, all the data in this row belongs to Tayyab, which is at index 5, and the total for this row will be at the same index in total, and the average at the same index. So index in this case is used to refer to the similar values in across different arrays. Okay, so this is the understanding that you need to build up before we start. And now you can see when we move toward the design part, and it says write a program that meet the following requirement: calculate the combined total mark for each student for all their subject. So this is the first thing that you all have to do, means you have to calculate the total of like these marks. This has to be total here. This is the first thing that is asked here. And then calculate the average mark for each student for all their subjects, round it to the nearest. So now this is the second thing that you have to do, and that is in the fourth array, that is the average marks, and the total that we will calculate here, the average will be calculated from this total. So it means from this data, the marks data, we are going to first calculate the total, and then we are going to calculate the average. So these are the 2 bullet points that is mentioned here. And one thing in the end of the second point is that round it to the nearest whole number. So when we will be calculating the average, the average will give us a fractional value that need to be rounded. That is the requirement. And once these 2 bullets are done, then you need to move toward outputting the detail, and before you move toward the next student, and while remaining to the first student, let's say, when you will calculate the total of Ahmed by adding all these numbers and then calculating the average, and before you move toward the second student Faisal, you are going to output the name of the Ahmed, the combined total mark of the Ahmed, the average mark of the Ahmed, and the grade awarded to the Ahmed. These 3 things will be done simply, and when you will reach to the grade awarded For this, you need to refer to this scale where you have different conditions. If that average mark is equal to 70, then it is distinction. If it is between 55 and 70, then it is merit. If it is between 40 and 55, it is pass. And if it is less than 70, then it is fail. So this has to be done before the program moves to the next student. And when it moves to the next student, so it will repeat the same. And while doing all this, it is also going to count the number of distinction, merit, passes, fails for the whole class, and then this need to be output in the end of the program. So this is the requirement of the code. Now let's start. How will we do this? Alrighty, so they have mentioned, as I told you earlier, that you must use the pseudocode of the program code and add comments to explain how your code works. So the comments are also part of the answers, means it will describe that how you have done this. Okay. Although you don't need to declare any of the existing arrays which are already like it is saying that you don't need to initialize the data in the array. So otherwise you have to do this big task inside this code. So what we will do now, the important thing is that we need to declare, this is the first thing, means declaring the identifiers. So this is the first thing that we need to do, and they must be meaningful and appropriate. Alright, they must be meaningful and appropriate. So what are the as you have already seen that I mentioned here that we need to declare this total and this average, because the student name and the student mark, they are already declared, so we don't need to declare it. So that is the declare, and then is the we call it average, total and average. Yes, total marks and average marks. Total mark, array, and this is of integer, and this we will give it a size. Although the size are not mentioned here, we can put this as this can be the class size. Okay, whatever the size will be given will be placed here. Declare average mark array, and this will also be of size. Class size of integer, and then we need to set variables. Declare class and test. We need to set the no, I think we need to set the student and test. Because it says the student mark and the other one is the student mark, so test mark, it can be subject. Alright, of integer, and then we need to have some variables for distinction, merit, and pass fail of type integer. So these variables we need for these are the counters. All right. Okay, and it is good if we use some constants here, like constant distinction, we call distinction as this is going to be 70, constant merit as 55, although it is not required, but it is better that if you show your understanding about using different type of storages, this gives a good distinction number. We just put n, merit number, and then pass number is 1 to class size, and here we'll have the total mark, and inside the total mark we put the I and then initialize to 0. Next I. All right. So we did this. All right. So this part is we have initialized. Now we need to calculate the combined total mark for each student for their subject. Now this is the thing that we for the student 1, let's say. Okay, one rule for all the 2D arrays. The 2D arrays, you all should remember that whenever you're working with the 2D arrays, we use the nested for loop. Student, they usually do mistake here. If you're not using a nested for loop, it means you will never be able to access each of the element in the 2D array. To what? The class size. This is required. Plus 1 and output what? Grade, or we just write distinction. All right, this is if it is distinction. And the second is else if average mark student is greater than equal to, what was the second? That was merit n, then the merit is merit plus 1, output merit. Else if average mark student is greater than equal to pass number, then pass is pass plus 1, output pass. All right, and the last one is else out fail is fail plus 1, output fail. And if this is the first and if so we need to have 3 and if. All right. Okay. So after this, now this is the main part. So we are done with these 3 bullets and the last part, and that is to calculate, store and output the number of distinction. Now we just have to output the, after all the loops, the last part is to output number of distinction and then output number of merit output number of pass output number of fail. So this is all about the answer. I'm sure it is clear, and I will make some more videos on the scenario based question, and we'll also see some other type of the question in the same question number 13, the last question, and wait for that video. This is all for today. Allah Hafiz, take care.